One-step equations. The student will predict, find, and justify solutions to application problems using appropriate tables, graphs, and algebraic equations. So today we will learn how to solve one-step equations. When solving one-step equations, 3 simple steps will help you solve any problem. First, you'll highlight the number that's on the same side of the equation as the variable. Remember, the variable is the letter. Second, you'll rewrite the equation. This time, you won't write the highlighted number. And then finally, you'll rewrite that highlighted number on the opposite side of the equal sign, and you'll use the opposite operation. So what that means is if originally the number was being multiplied, you'll divide. If it was originally being subtracted, you'll add. Let's look at some examples. Here we have f plus 14 equals 92. So we're trying to solve what plus 14 equals 92. Let's follow our steps. First, we're going to highlight the number on the same side of the equation as the variable. So here, the variable is f. So looking on that side of the equal sign, we see plus 14. Now we're going to rewrite the equation without that highlighted number. So we have f. We're going to skip over the plus 14, and we have 92. But f doesn't equal 92. We still have one more step. We need to move the highlighted number to the opposite side of the equation, which means the other side of the equal sign, using the opposite operation. So what operation did we originally have? Originally, we had plus 14. So we're going to do the opposite, which will be minus 14. And now we know how to solve for f. All we have to do is subtract. 92 minus 14, which will give us 78. So the value of f is 78. Now let's have a look at example 2. We have negative 1.2v equals negative 53.22. Let's follow our steps again. First, we'll highlight the number on the same side of the equation as the variable. So our variable here is v, and the number on the same side of the equal sign would be negative 1.2. So highlight that number. In step 2, we're going to rewrite the equation without the highlighted number. So without that highlighted number, we will have v equals negative 53 and 22/100. And in our final step 3, we're going to move the highlighted number to the opposite side of the equation using the opposite operation. So what was the operation we originally had? What kind of math was going on right here between the number and the variable? When the number and the variable touch like that, that is multiplication. And what would be the opposite of multiplication? It would be division. So here you're going to divide that number by negative 1.2. Now we know a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so I'll just note off to the side here that my answer is positive. And now I can divide 53 and 22/100 divided by 1 2/10. And of course, I'll need to move the decimal out and be fair. Move that decimal straight up to the top. We have 1, 2, 3 numbers before the decimal and 1 after. And now we're ready to divide. 12 will not go into 5, so we'll put a 0 there. 12 will go into 53 4 times, which is 48. Subtract, and we'll get 5. Bring down the 2. 12 goes into 52 4 times, which is 48. Subtract, and we'll get 4. Bring down the 2. 12 will go into 42 3 times, which is 36. Subtract and get 6. Bring down a 0. And 12 will go into 60 5 times. We have V is equal to 44 35 hundredths. Now let's get some more practice. Example 3. 3D equals negative 57. Step 1. We highlight the number on the same side of the equation as the variable. So we highlight the 3. Step 2. We rewrite the equation without the highlighted number. So D equals negative 57. And finally, step 3, we do the opposite math on the opposite side of the equation. So we need to look here. What kind of math is that between the number and the letter? It is multiplication, so the opposite on the opposite side will be division, divided by 3. Now I know a negative divided by a positive will give me a negative, and now I have 57 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 1 time, it's 3, subtract, get 2, bring down the 7, and it goes in 9 times. So D here is equal to a negative 19. Now example 4. W divided by negative 3 and 23 hundredths is equal to negative 8. Again, we're following the same procedure here. We're going to highlight the number that's on the same side of the equal sign as the letter. So our variable W, the number on the same side is negative 3 and 23 hundredths. We're going to, step 2, rewrite the equation without that number. So W equals negative 8. And now we're looking to see what kind of math is that happening between the variable and the number. It is division. So the opposite here will be multiplication. So I'm going to multiply now by negative 3 and 23 hundredths. Notice the number is identical. The operation is opposite. So that negative 3 and 23 hundredths stays a negative 3 and 23 hundredths. We don't change the number, we only change the operation. So now we're ready to multiply. When we have a negative times a negative, what will we get? We'll get a positive. So note that that's going to be a positive answer. And now we're ready to multiply. 3 and 23 hundredths times 8. 8 times 3 will give us 24. 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 2 gives us 18. 8 and 3 will give us 24, plus the 1 we carried gives us 25. We'll move our decimal in 1, 2 places. 1, 2. We have 25 and 84 hundredths. And we noted earlier that that will be positive. So we have 25 and 84 hundredths is our answer. We can't get too much practice, so let's keep going. Example 5. Negative 12 plus h equals 21 and 2 tenths. Anytime the equation does not start with the variable or a number being multiplied by the variable, it's best to rewrite it. So here we would have h The operation is addition. And what number are we adding to h? Negative 12. And that is equal to 21 and 2/10. Now we're ready for step 1. Highlight the number on the same side of the equation as the variable. Rewrite the equation without it. So h equals 21 and 2/10. And now we're ready to do the opposite. Now this one's a little bit tricky. The opposite operation would be subtraction, and we have a negative 12. So now we have touching signs, or touching negatives, which we know means we're going to add. So h is equal to 21 and 2/10 plus 12. When we add those numbers, what do we have to do? What is the rule for adding decimals? It is to line up the decimals. So when we add those together, we'll get 33 and 2/10. So h is equal to 33 and 2/10. Example 6. This one we have not only a negative, but we also have fractions, so this will be a good review. Here we start with the variable, so we don't need to rewrite it. We're able to go ahead and start with step 1. Highlight the number that's on the same side of the equation as the variable. Step 2, we'll rewrite the equation without the highlighted number. And finally, step 3, do the opposite math, or the opposite operation on the opposite side of the equation. So we have opposite of addition would be to subtract. The number stays the same, so it's minus a negative 2 and 7/8. Let's address our touching negatives here. We'll rewrite it. h is equal to 3 and 5/12 plus 2 and 7/8. What do we have to have in order to add our fractions? We have to have a common denominator. Our common denominator here is 24. So we have 3, denominator 24, plus 2, and denominator of 24. What did we multiply 12 by in order to get 24? 12 times 2. So we're going to multiply 5 times 2, and that will give us 10 here. How about 8 to 24? From 8 to 24, that is times 3. So we're going to take 7 times 3, and that will give us 21. And now we're ready to add. So h will equal 3 plus 2 is 5. Denominator is 24. My numerator is 10 plus 21, which will give me 31. And now I'm going to combine 5 and 31/24. So 31 divided by 24. 24 goes into 31 one time. When you subtract that, you'll get 7. So you have 1 and 7/24 added to 5. So 5 plus 1 and 7/24 will give you your final answer, which is, let me just erase, make a little bit of space here. So you'll have 6 and 7/24. Example 7. 3/4 m equals 1 and 5/9. We're going to highlight the number that's on the same side of the equation as the variable. So 3/4. We're going to rewrite the equation without it. M equals 1 and 5/9. And now we're going to do the opposite math on the opposite side of the equation. Now this one is a little tricky. People see 3/4 and they think division, but it's the kind of math that's happening between the number and the letter. Remember, when the number touches the letter like that, that is multiplication. So the opposite here will be division. So we're going to divide by 3/4. Now 1 5/9 needs to be converted to an improper fraction. So I have 1 times 9 is 9. Add that to the top here. So I have m equals 5 plus 9 will give me 14. Keep the denominator of 9 divided by 3/4. Now with dividing fractions, I keep, flip, and change. So I'm going to keep 14 over 9 as it is. I'm going to flip 3/4, so I now have 4/3. I'm going to change the division to multiplication. Only after you keep, flip, change, only when you have a multiplication problem are you ready to cross simplify. Now, in this case, I don't have anything that can be cross simplified. So I'm simply going to multiply top times top and bottom times bottom. So 9 times 3 will give me 27. And now I need 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is going to give me 16. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I have 56 divided by 27. And now I have top in, bottom out. 56 divided by 27. 27 will go into 56 2 times. 2 times 27 is 54, and that gives me a 2 remainder. So that is equal to 2 and 2 27ths. Let's look at example 8. A divided by negative 16 is equal to 7/8. I'll highlight the number on the same side of the equation as the letter and rewrite the equation without it. So I have A equals 7/8. Now I'm going to do the opposite math on the opposite side. So what's happening between the number and the letter here? Division, and the opposite would be multiplication. So I'm multiplying by negative 16. Now to multiply a fraction with a whole number, I'll have to convert the whole number to a fraction. So that would be negative 16 over 1. And this is multiplication here, so I can cross simplify. Negative 16 and 8 are both divisible by 8. So I'm going to write in what I'm dividing by so I don't make a mistake. And I have A equals 7 over 1 times negative 2 over 1. Top times top and bottom times bottom. I get negative 14 over 1, which is simply negative 14. So here A is equal to negative 14. And I know you're so excited, we have reached our final slide. Examples 9 and 10. You should feel pretty comfortable with this by now, so I want you to try 9 and 10 first, and then fast forward to the end to see if you got it right. If you didn't, you can rewind and watch how to do it. So, example 9, 7/9 G equals 3 1/2. The number being multiplied by G, or the number on the same side of the equation, is the variable is 7/9. Highlight that and rewrite the equation without it. Now do the opposite math on the opposite side of the equation. So we're going to divide 5/7. In order to divide those, we need an improper fraction instead of a mixed number. So we have 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So 6 plus 1 is going to give me 7. Keep the denominator of 2, and that's the division symbol there, and 7/9. Now we're ready to keep, flip, change. Keep the first fraction, flip the second fraction, change that division to multiplication. And let's rewrite the problem. G equals keep 7/2, flip 9/7, change to multiplication. Now we're ready to cross simplify once we're in multiplication mode. 7 and 7 can be simplified by 7. So G will equal 1/2 times 9/1. When we multiply top times top, we'll get 9. Bottom times bottom, we get 2. And that will give us 4.5. Let's look at y. 9 divided by 2. 2 goes into 9 4 times. It's 8. You subtract and get a 1 remainder. So it's 4.1/2. Finally, example 10. A divided by -2.8 equals 5/8. Now this one might have stumped you a little bit, because we not only have a fraction, but we have a decimal. So it's your choice here whether you want to convert the decimal to a fraction or the fraction to a decimal. I bet you chose to convert the fraction to a decimal. So let's have a look at it that way. We have -2.8. We're going to highlight that on the same side of the equation as the variable, or rewrite the equation without it. A equals 5/8. The opposite operation, this is division, so the opposite is going to be multiplication. Okay, and here's where we need to get them in the same format in order to proceed. So, you can convert 5/8 to a decimal, and you would get 625 times -2.8. And a positive times a negative will give us a negative answer. And we're ready to multiply. We have 625 times 2 8/10. So 8 times 5 gives us 40. 8 times 2 gives us 16, plus the 4 gives us 20. 8 times 6 is 48, plus the 2 is 50. Placeholder 0. Cross out what you carried over. 2 times 5 will give us 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. 2 times 6 gives us 12. And now we're ready to add it all up. So give us 0, 0, 5, 7, 1. And we're ready to place our decimal. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 places in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get our decimal. So we have a -1 and 75/100. Or if you did it as a fraction, you would have gotten A equals -1 3/4. Either one of those responses is correct.